move out. Yesterday, we learned about Hanukkah, and we said that Hanukkah has as an unusual fact that there are no meals in Hanukkah. There's no official commandment to make meals on Hanukkah. It's the only holiday in Judaism that doesn't have a commandment to make meals. Of course, Yom Kippur doesn't have any, but there's no eating on Yom Kippur. In Rosh Hashanah, there's meals. Sukkot, Chanukah, Sukkot, I'm sorry, Passover, Pesach, Shavuot. There's a big meals you make. It's a big commandment to make meals on those days. You have to have wine, you have to have bread, you have to have some meat, according to some opinions. You have to have meat, which is not the case Hanukkah. There's absolutely no commandment to make meals. If you do make meals, then you have to sing or say some words of Torah or something like that. And then it becomes a surah's mitzvah, which is like the whole rest of the year. So why? So it says, well, we see something unusual about Chanukah. Chanukah was set, the main feature of Chanukah is oil. Oil. They found a bottle of oil. They lit the bottle of oil. The bottle of oil lit 8 days. Oil. Oil happens to be basically not edible on its own. Oil has to be added to something else. If you drink oil on your own, it's not good. I mean, some people like it. I don't know. Maybe it's good therapeutically. But I once read somewhere that it says if you take a teaspoon of oil every morning, I took a teaspoon of oil. I think it was even olive oil, pure olive oil. I took my stomach hurt the whole entire day. It says in the Talmud that you're not supposed to drink oil. But I figured, listen, maybe these guys do it. Maybe times have changed. Who knows? So maybe other people can do it, but I can't do it. The fact is that if you do drink oil for whatever reason you might have, like I did, because you want to try it out, you don't make a blessing on it. You don't make a blessing on oil alone. You have to mix the oil with something, with bread or something like that. Then you can make a blessing on olive oil. By the way, the blessing you make is Brei Priya Eitz. Okay, so oil. So oil, there's also the same thing corresponds to the Torah. In the Torah, there's also the bread of the Torah, there's water of the Torah, there's wine of the Torah, and there's also oil of the Torah. So generally speaking, the bread of the Torah, that's how the Torah sustains the Jewish people, the commandments. And the wine of the Torah, that's like the enthusiasm, the spirituality of the Torah. That's the secrets of the Torah. But the oil, that's what's called the secrets of the secrets. And we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Basically, what is the secrets of the secrets? Secrets are secrets. What do you mean secrets of the secrets? Right? It's deeper secrets. What do you mean secrets of the secrets? It's a whole different category on its own, right? It's like you buy a car and then there's the car of the car. You buy a car. I didn't just buy a car. I bought a car of the car. What does it mean? If it's a secret, anything that's hidden from us is a secret. How can there be a secret of a secret? What does it mean? So that's exactly the point. The secrets of the Torah, that's what's above us. That's above us. The highest levels of secrets you can possibly find, that's called secrets. What are the secrets of the secrets? That's even above the spiritual. That's even above the spiritual. That is how the Torah explains why God created this physical world. How this physical world is higher than the spiritual. That's the secret of the secret. The spiritual is secret. The fact that this physical world is higher than the physical world is higher than the spiritual, that's above the secrets. That's the secret of the secret. That's the oil of the Torah. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's go. That's Chassidut. That's the idea of Chassidut. Because we see that oil has two qualities. First of all, oil floats on every other liquid, but also oil, if you put it on a solid, it permeates it. It spreads out. It like, how do you say it? Not just permeates it, it like integrates itself into the fibers of that thing where it goes into. Okay, so that's the oil. That's going to be Chanukah. Let's go. The Kudas appear. The explanation is like this, and that's the reason why there are no meals, because the Chanukah, so to speak, is too spiritual. And the Kudas means like this: a Seder, these scholars of Torah, How is the Torah revealed? The way that the Torah is revealed, that the Torah was given. One of the reasons the Torah was given was to make peace in the world. Hu ba'ofen is in a way the more the darkness there is in the world, his galus a Torah. There's more and more revealed Torah. Torah is called light. Le'irat olam. The purpose of the Torah is to illuminate the world. And therefore, mitzad gadol Yerida, because of this tremendous descent, Malchus, when the Greeks, the evil Greeks, stood up and conquered the Jews, they needed Hosafa, an additional light of the Torah. Al Yadei, by means of his galus, the revelation, Darga Nailas Yosar, a higher level of the Torah. Shemen Shebetorah, the oil of the Torah. It wasn't good enough just the bread of the Torah, the laws of the Torah, the commandments that all the Jewish people were religious. Wasn't good enough. It wasn't even good enough that all the Jewish people were enthusiastic. They knew about the secrets of the Torah. There had to be a new level of the deeper aspect of the Torah to combat the Greeks. Shemesh the Razin Shabbat Torah. The secrets of the Torah. And again, we just have to stress again that the purpose of the Greeks wasn't just to conquer physically the world. It wasn't only to conquer, they wanted to conquer the world physically. But first of all, the Greeks didn't have enough people to control the whole world, right? They conquered like Persia. I think they got over to India. Who knows what was going on with Hannibal? I don't know what's going on over there. But anyways, I am not a history major, but I know that he conquered the whole world. They said that Alexander the Great conquered the whole world, and part of the whole world was India. India was there a long time before. India was in the time of Abraham for sure. It says that he sent his wives he sent to the east, and it says over there he gave them names, and that's where Hinduism comes from. It said from the time of Abraham. So if Alexander the Great was what 2,000 years after Abraham, something like that, a long time after Abraham. Huh? So for sure, I mean, India was around. So he conquered the whole entire world. They conquered the whole world. They had no way of controlling the whole world with just military power. So one of the ways they wanted to do it was to convince all the nations that it was worthwhile to let the Greeks rule them, that the Greeks were nice people and that they were intellectual people and that they offered them a whole new level of culture and, how do you say, appreciating the world, the physical world that they didn't have before. Anyway, I think that's what I heard from someone. But and however it is, the fact is that the main thing of the Greeks was not just physical conquer. They weren't like Attila the Hun or Genghis Khan or somebody, or even the Romans, that they just wanted to conquer everything, right? They wanted to, and maybe we can say, I'm not sure if you can say this, but I think maybe you can. I'm making this up. Something like the difference between Hitler and the communists, especially like Trotsky. These guys had an idea. Hitler, he just wanted to conquer the world. That's all. He was going to rule the world by force. Anybody who was against him, he would just shoot. Everybody would be afraid of him. But the communists, they wanted to convince everybody. They wanted to make ideological changes in the world. Ideological changes. It's very interesting because the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he was the only one that could stand against the communists. His father, who was a tremendous, great tzaddik, and etc., and he fought a lot of battles in his life also against different ideologies. But he said, against the communists, I can't stand, because communism conquered the hearts of everybody. It was coming from a different angle than the Greeks did. Different angle from the Greeks. That was more like from how do you say, from economical, from economy, from money. We're going to do it with money. It's going to be equal. Etc. Okay, and the Greeks said more for like fun, for culture. For this. However, it is the Greeks didn't want to rule just from power. They weren't Nazis. They weren't Romans. Right? They wanted to rule with intellect, and they found the Jews. How do you say? Ready, willing, and able to accept their philosophies and their ideas. That's what's called chachmas chitzonius. Shebizmanahu, that in that time, hayu philosophim machishim. They had philosophers that denied that there was no such thing as prophecy. Sinishpashta az chachmas yavanis, that the wisdom, the philosophy of Greece spread out. Shu philosophia v'rotzu lisgaber al chachmas Kabbalah, and they wanted to overpower the wisdom of the Kabbalah of God, and believed in God and His commandments. Because Torah is above understanding, and they wanted understanding. Therefore, timu kol hashemanim, they wanted to defile all of the oil. That's this level of holiness of the chachma, the wisdom of holiness. They wanted to make them forget the Torah. Not they didn't want to forget, they wanted to make the Jews forget your Torah, that it's God's Torah, and to take away the holiness. The Islam can say, she's Gabrus Chachmas Yavan, that this overpowering of the wisdom of Greece, which is called Chachma of Klippa, which is called the wisdom of selfishness, Ad kedekach, so much that became a big goal by the Greeks to make them forget that the Torah comes from God. How did they, the Greeks, get so much power? They got so much power because there were Jews that joined them. That the Jews that joined the Greeks, they gave the Greeks power. That the Greeks had ability. Metzina, we can find a Mailam Yecheres, we can find something special about Greece, Yavan. She'av b'sporim, even in books, Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim, lo hitiru sheyichtavu ela b'Yavanit. It was an interesting thing. There used to be a language which was called Greece. Greece. It's not the same Greece as it is now. Greeks as it is now. We're talking about this is like what the 2,300 years ago, something like that. So it was a different alphabet than it is now. But it says that it's permissible to enter this is very interesting law. It's permissible to write it's forbidden to write the Torah in any other language except for Greece. Greek. It's permissible to write the Torah in Greek. I never really looked into this, to tell you the truth. I have to look into what does it mean to translate it? I don't think it means to translate it. I don't think it means to translate it. I think that it means to write the pronunciations in Greece. I don't know, I have to look it up. I'll ask somebody. Interesting. The question just rose up in my mind now. Because when the fact that Torah was translated into Greek, it says it was a terrible day for the Jews. Talmi says got 70 wise men and put them into different rooms, and they translated the Torah into Greek. It says it was a terrible thing for the Jewish people. So what does it mean they translated it into Greek? I think it means that they translated it phonetically into Greek. Okay, I don't know. I'll ask somebody. Okay, so what do we say? It says that there's something special about this Greek language. The Torah says, Yaft Elokim leyafet v'yishkan oel leShem. Remember, Noah had 3 sons. Shem, Cham, v'Yafet. Cham was bad news. Cham, it says that he uncovered his father, he raped his father, whatever he did. He castrated his father. He got a curse. From Shem came the Jewish people. Shem. That's where anti-Shemite comes from, anti-Semitism. Anyway, I don't know. I to tell you the truth, I don't exactly understand that either, but okay. Because the Arabs, I guess, also come from Shem. And then there is Yafet. Yafet was the 3rd son. And it says, Yaft Elokim liyafet v'yishkan oel Hashem. It says, God will benefit Yafet, the 3rd son, and he will dwell in the tents of Shem. What does it mean? Yafet, yafutu shal, yafetu shal yafet, the beauty of yafet. Yafet, this is Greek. The language of Greek is a beautiful language. That's the beauty. That's the most beautiful part of all of the offspring of Yafet is the language. That it should be an all Shem. What does it mean, all Shem? That the language, Greek language, can be used in the tense of Shem. Until they checked and they found the Torah cannot be translated as much as this, except in the Greek. So here it seems to be that it's translated. Okay. It can't be translated properly except in the Greek. Okay. Nishtana Lashon Yavani, it says that the language, the Greek language, is different from all the other languages because it was muvan me'etzlam, because it could be understood by the wise men of Israel, because they also used the Greek language to explain Greek. And they explained it to Talmei Melech, to the king Talmei. Until finally that language eventually got accepted by us. And it was Greek was accepted as though it was Hebrew. Oh, it says Aval became nevertheless. When they wrote the Torah, in Greek, oh yeah, Yom Kasha, it was a terrible day for the Jews, like the day that the golden calf was made. Exactly the opposite of what the Torah is. So one second, what's going on? Greek is good. Yes, it says Yaft Hashem Liyafet. Or was it bad? It says the day that it was translated was a terrible day for the Jews. What's the explanation? The explanation is like this: Shemitzad Malasa Dam Shacha. These galos of Torah Lamata, in regarding to the fact that the Torah was revealed below to the language of the non-Jews, like God even commands Moses that when they go over the Jordan River to come into Israel, says that they should take the Torah and translate it into 70 languages. So it says, therefore, when God commanded it and said he should translate it, obviously one of the languages it was translated was Greek. So Greek on its own, that's good. But only when Talmei Melech, he was the one that said you should translate it into Greeks. That was a terrible day for the Jews. Like they made the day that the golden calf was made. Why? Because God didn't command it. This was done not because of the commandment of God, but because King Talmei, he decided to have it done. Therefore, there's a place to worry that maybe it will be used afterwards in an improper way, until it will come to be the opposite of the giving of the Torah. And maybe we can even say, Yesh Lomar, we can say, that from as a result of this came the decree of the Greeks, because they translated, God said to translate the Torah into 70 languages. Because of this, eventually came Talmei and said to translate it into Greece. So when God said to do it, it was okay. But when he said to do it, at beginning, it seemed to be okay. But the problem is that from this came a little bit of a nurture to selfishness. We can do whatever we want. And when they translated it because God wanted it, so God wanted it. Now when it translated because he wanted it, so it could have been, and originally it was a good thing, but the basis of it, the foundation, the seed, was that it was the private will of this Greek king. This eventually came down to the ability of the Greeks to try to make the Jews forget the Torah of God. Like it says, Be'inyan Torah, Shi Chachma Gadola, that the Torah in itself is a tremendous wisdom. Lazei Skimu, this the Greeks agreed. Because they were tremendous wise men. Also, they were impressed by the great wisdom of the Torah. Shebedine Torah. There was a great rabbi His name was Rabbi Weissmandel. Rabbi Weissmandel. I guess he was from Hungary. And he had a tremendously tragic life, but he was an amazing, amazing genius of a person. He was a totally, religious, believing, genuine rabbi, and his whole family was taken to the Holocaust, and he also was taken to the Holocaust. But he managed to smuggle in before they took him away. He smuggled a saw, a little saw, and he sawed through the wall of the cattle car that they took him in. And I guess they took him in a separate cattle car from his family. Whatever, I didn't exactly read that story, but he jumped out of the cattle car on the road and he ran for days and days. Anyway, that's a story in itself. He came to England and he said there was a Holocaust. Nobody believed him. So he was a genius, and he was able to look at the Torah and know that like every 33rd letter of the Torah, it spells out some certain word, and every 50th letter it shows a certain word. So every word, that's called the Torah codes. He knew the Torah codes, and he revealed some just incredible things. Now they can do it with computers, but it was just incredible things that he revealed, and just amazing. And he said that this does not in any way prove that the Torah comes from God. It just comes to prove that the Torah is a very serious and a spiritual book. You can't just throw it away. You can't just throw the Torah away. I mean, which is basically what the Christians did. So he said, you can't, what they say, you can just interpret the Torah however you want, is not so. You have to take the Torah very, very seriously. His belief in God and his connection to God did not come from his tremendous wisdom, his talents and everything. But nevertheless, the fact is the Torah is a tremendous wisdom, and that's what the Greeks appreciated. The Greeks appreciated Nifalu, and they were tremendously impressed by the tremendous wisdom of the Torah. And what were they against? They were against it was the Torah of God. There was a spiritual book, a religious book, no problem. Hainu, namely the Kedusha, they were against the holiness of the Torah. The holiness of the Torah. The Torah is the most amazing book in the library. Absolutely no problem they had. That the Judaism is the most sophisticated and spiritual and whatever religion, no problem. But to say it comes from God, no way. No way. Not that it's the wisdom of God. That's what they want. They're wording it. They say it came from inspired people. That's okay, inspired people. But that God himself spoke to Moses. God himself speaks through the prophets. God himself? No. That's too much for the Greeks. Shenitzlu a targum, that they use this translation of the Greek translation of the Torah of the Torah, lamod al godel otzam plus chachmas Torah, to indicate how great the wisdom of the Torah is, how it's amazingly intelligent and complicated. Almanas latame, but they use this in order to defile the holiness of the Torah. Shaloya nika, that it shouldn't be noticeable that it's the wisdom of God. It's human intelligence, like the philosophers of Greece. There's somewhere, I didn't read this, but I think in the Moreh Nevuchim, in the Guide to the Perplexed, that the Rambam says, I just heard this, that Aristotle reached to the highest levels of understanding that a human being can reach. The highest levels of understanding that human is capable of. Right? He was a spiritual person, he was a high person, right? But he was not a holy person. It didn't bring him to love God. It certainly didn't bring him to control his urges. That's the idea of timu kol hashmanim shebeheichel. That's the idea that they defiled all of the oil in the temple. They didn't pour it out. They wanted the Jews to use the oil. They wanted the Jews to learn Torah, but just that it should be impure. It should be human. It shouldn't be godly. As we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. And now we're going to do the Yom Yom.